What's up guys, Brennan here, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a piano tutorial of the song Where Is My Mind, which is originally by the Pixies. I'm going to be doing a piano arrangement by a composer, I think the way you say it is Maxence Siren. Might be butchering that, but it's a beautiful rendition of the song. So if you haven't heard this particular arrangement, I have a cover up on my channel, which I will link right here if you guys want to check that out before we get into it. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. It helps me out as a small creator here on YouTube. And then it also helps you guys out because whenever I put out a new tutorial, you don't miss out on it. And with that, let's get right into it. So you're going to start with your thumb on E up here and your third finger on G sharp. And you're going to go. So that's a total of 8 times. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you move your thumb down to D sharp. And then you go. It's a little bit tricky, so that second part is. All together it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you go a little pause, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch the thumb. And then it starts over. So that's so feel free to pause the video and practice that. On the left hand, you're going to have your pinky here on E. And then you jump up to pinky on E, G sharp, B. So that's going to be, you're going to do this little pattern. So that's the first one. Second one is pinky on C sharp. And then you jump up to pinky on C sharp, middle finger on E, thumb on G sharp. Then the third one is pinky on G sharp. And you jump up to pinky on G sharp, C, D sharp. And then the last one is pinky on A. And then you jump up to pinky on A, middle finger on C sharp, thumb on E. It's a little pattern here. I'm going to go over it again. That is first one, E, C sharp, G sharp, A. Repeat. This is going to take a bit of practice because you're doing a lot of jumping back and forth. So feel free to practice that. We're going to go ahead and put both hands together for this first part. So you're playing in the right hand first on its own. Remember those first 8 that you're doing? Then there's a little pause, and then you come in both hands, and it goes like this. Now when you move to this one, this is when you switch your thumb. Then when you move to the E is when you switch to A. And then it starts over. So it's a little bit tricky. Let's go over it again. Switch the thumb. Then it starts over. Switch. Then we get into the next section here. And so it's, so that's thumb on E and G sharp. So you're hitting the G sharp twice. And so you go, and then you go. So that's, go. So it's like a little walk up. So that's. So that's a little bit tricky. So it's. So you're kind of going up. To C sharp, D sharp, C. Okay, then it goes. So that's D sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp. So it's. And then you go. So that's C sharp, G sharp, F sharp, E. Then that repeats. And you kind of pause between. Okay, so I'm going to go over that again because it's a little bit tricky. So here we go. And then it gets into the chorus. Okay, so now in the left hand, remember that pattern of 4 that we were doing earlier? You're going to do a similar pattern of 4. It's just going to be a different way that you do it, would be the way that I explain it. So your hand is going to have to stretch a lot. So just know that if you're having trouble doing it, you can always just do that earlier left hand where we're. Totally do that the entire song. Doesn't even matter. I'm going to teach you this hard left hand part, so feel free if you want to learn it, but if not, like I said, you can just do that earlier left hand part. So it's going to be like this. So basically, instead of playing these 3 keys, E, G sharp, and B, we're instead going to play the bottom and the top. And it's that middle one, we're going to stretch all the way up and play the middle one up here. So it's like we're taking the middle one out and playing it up top. And then do the 2 outside ones. So it's. Now we move to the next one, which is pinky on C sharp, right? Now normally we play this one, right? But we're going to skip that and play it up top. So we go C sharp, G sharp, stretch that thumb up to E. Okay, next one is going to be pinky on G sharp, pointer finger on D sharp, stretch your thumb up to the C. Okay, then the last one is your pinky on A, pointer finger on E, and you stretch this thumb all the way up to C sharp. A good tip is as soon as you hit the middle one, you kind of move your hand, like your wrist, over to this side so that you have room to stretch. So in other words, if my hand was down here still, there's no way I can reach that C sharp. But if I kind of move my hand like right here, then my thumb has room to stretch. Hopefully that makes sense. So the 4 that we're doing are this one. Then you move to the second one. Third one. Fourth one. And that whole thing repeats. First one. Second one. Third one. Fourth one. Full speed. Repeat. So just know that trick, as soon as you hit the middle one, you kind of move your entire hand over to the right so that you have room to stretch that thumb. Okay, so feel free, that's a little bit tricky, so feel free to pause the video and practice that before we move on to the next one. So now we're gonna put both hands together here. So when you hit this one, you come in on the left hand, so it's, and then when you move to this one, you move to the second one. So that's, next one. So in between these two is when you start on the next part. So it's, now we go here again, just like we learned. Switch. Next part. Next part. Okay, that's a little bit tricky on the timing, so I'm going to go over it a second time. Here we go. Remember, when we hit this key is when we come in the left hand. Get into the chorus where it's, so good news is the left hand stays the same. So we're just going to learn the right hand part here, which is third finger here on G sharp, and then down to C sharp. Then you go, and then that repeats. Repeat. Okay, so now we're going to practice putting this part together. So you play this one at the same time as the B. So it's, and then the second B comes between these two. So it's switch. Now this one, same thing. So it's a little bit tricky. So from the top it's, start over. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky. I'm going to go over it one more time. So from the top we go, switch. Switch. Repeat. Okay, so then at this part, you then add in a second little thing in the left hand where it goes A, E, C, E. So it goes. So all together that little last part is. Okay, so then we get into a really difficult part in the right and left hand. Now in the right hand, you do this little part where it's and then it goes. Then that repeats. Okay, so you're gonna start with your pinky here on B, and then you do this little roll where it's A, G sharp, F sharp. So you go down, back to the middle. So it's, try that with me. And then you go, that's G sharp and F sharp. Part's a little hard to memorize. Just know that the more you go over it, the easier it will get. So it's, and then you go, then you go, and then it starts over. So it's basically you're going from F sharp to E, then you cross over to D sharp, C sharp, back up to these that you were just playing, back up to F sharp, G sharp, A, and then it starts over. So starts over. Now this part changes where it goes. So that last part is. So it's gonna, the way that I have to teach this part is I can't really go over each key, like this is G sharp, this is D sharp, because then you won't get the tune of it and it'll be impossible to learn. So the best way to do this is to just watch my fingers and get the pattern of this. So it's start over. This part's different. Hold it. Then it repeats. So full speed, it should sound like this. So feel free to pause the video. I definitely encourage you to practice that for at least like 10-15 minutes straight until you got that down. So the way that I do the fingering on this is I start with this with my pinky and then I cross over to these two. So it's cross over. So I'm always playing this part with my pinky. And then I usually cross over here. And then I have room for my pinky to go up here. So just to show you that again on my fingering, it's thumb here, cross over, pinky again, cross my thumb over. So one thing that I'm just going to add in here is just keep in mind that your left hand is never changing. So it's not like you're sticking too long on one thing and then doing it and then the next one. Like you're pressing each one this way, never changing. Almost like a drum. You're not changing the beat at all. You're not going like this. then that would throw off your right hand. You're just doing it exactly the same, never changing it. Okay, so now we're gonna put both hands together here. So it's same time for each. In between, when you go to the next one, right, you're ending here and you're going to the next, is when you do this. So it's now we start over, right? Part. Okay, so let's go over that again. It's a little bit tricky. So starting at the same time here. This part. And then it ends. All right, so now that we've learned each part, we're just gonna run through everything nice and slow. Here we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future content. Don't forget to create art, and I'll see you guys next time.